kill me. Can't remember anything except 2 words. Coronet blue. Coronet blue.
Coronet blue. Coronet blue. Deep down inside my brain, I keep hearing that wild refrain. Coronet blue, no other blue. I know that this must be the thing that can set me free. For I was born just yesterday, lonely as a misty river. Always I'm moving like the river. If I linger, I'll die. And so I go my lonely way. Every journey filled with danger. Even to myself a stranger. Wondering who am I?
We are an alien presence in the house of our masters.
Yeah, that's right.
Entirely at the mercy of the bureaucratic power structure. The facts are plain. We are not taken seriously by those who govern us. We are not advised by our advisors, and in many cases, we are not even taught by our teachers. It is time for all of us to wake up and demand a voice in the administration of this university.
See? Girl. Pretty girl. Chimney. No. Smokestack. Smokestack on a ship. Deck of a ship. With a pretty girl. Someone else. Holding a gun. Holding a gun. Ship's whistle. Whistle. A shot. I'm in the water. I'm dying. Help me. Somebody help me. Help me.
All right. Now just relax. Just relax. It's all right. The danger is past. Just take it easy and relax. Close your eyes.
That's the last thing he remembers, till they fished him out of the water and rekindled that last spark of life.
That fantasy he had about the man with a gun, it is fantasy?
I don't know. According to Dr. Wilson's report from New York, an attempt was made on Michael Alden's life. The killer was not successful, but apparently the boy's life is still in danger. Enid.
Yes, Dr. Cortland.
You realize this is all highly confidential. You're not to discuss this outside this room.
Yes, of course.
Michael. Michael. I'm going to count to 3 now. You're going to wake up, refresh from a long nap. 1, 2, 3. Wake up.
Hello. I'm back.
How do you feel?
Fine. Never better. Well, I make a good guinea pig?
Well, I can't deny I'm fascinated. You're the first true amnesiac I've ever met.
We're a very select group, difficult to join. Question is, how do I get out?
I'd like very much to work with the boy. I realize I need the university's permission.
Well, I'll have to know more about it first.
Well, how soon do you think I can get a decision?
Well, that's hard
Now,
to
look,
say.
I know all the red tape involved and the slightest request from the NGG department.
What? The NGG?
No government grant. Now, look, I know that memory research has no immediate value for military application, but I do feel the work is important. I hope the university president agrees.
Oh, certainly, certainly. You're one of our greatest assets. You know that. But I'll still need more time to consider your request.
Well, why don't I just file a formal requisition? Michael? How'd you like to be classified as material necessary for experimental research? Type animal, subtype human male.
It's a weird way to get into college, Bud. It's better than coming in a cage.
The boy is waiting for your answer, and so am I.
Well, look, you know that he lacks the proper credentials for acceptance on a regular student basis.
No,
right?
I know all of that, and I still want him. Now, what are we going to do about it?
Now, look, I still don't understand the purpose of these proposed experiments.
It's very simple. The boy has lost his memory. I want to do what I can to restore it.
Is that possible?
I don't know. I can stimulate an octopus into retaining bits of learning for weeks on end. I can work wonders with the flatworm, but I've never had the opportunity to use my black magic on the human animal.
Well, what's the boy's mental state?
Oh, John, come on, please. I don't want to adopt the boy. I just want the university to install him so I can work with him, that's all.
All right, what about living accommodations? What about that?
My lab assistant has found a vacancy in an off-campus rooming house.
Well, there's no special fund for this sort of thing. You know that.
Oh, I know that. He'll work his own way. I understand he's a very good worker if he can get a job.
Well, as a matter of fact, there is an opening here on campus.
Good. Then he's in?
As your responsibility, on a special, non-participating, quasi-student basis.
Oh, boy. The machine that stamps that on his admission card will blow a fuse. Thanks a lot, John. By the way, what about that job?
Well, I've given Chief Loomis permission to increase the campus security force.
A cop? Is that what you want me to be?
A security officer.
A cop.
All right, a cop. Any objections?
Well, sure. Me, cop.
Well, what have you got against the idea?
Well, I don't know exactly. It hits me wrong.
Well, let me assure you, the police are necessary for law and order. Not only that, some of my best friends are cops.
All right, you got me there. I don't know who my friends were, but I'm sure they weren't cops. Okay, I'm a cop.
All right, shouldn't be too difficult. You'll be a relief officer for a couple of hours a night. Shouldn't interfere with our work, and it will pay the rent. Well, that reminds me. Enid?
Yes, Dr. Cortland?
I want you to take Michael by the hand and show him where he's going to live. Along the way, you might introduce him to some of the beauties of our lovely, tidy little campus. Don't let him get hit by a bulldozer along the way, though, will you?
Look, Walter, we want you with us. You're a class AA grind, but you have the ear of students and faculty members we can't reach. What do you say?
I say get out and stop proselytizing. I've got work to do.
You could help us kick off a mass rally that would make Marshall's teeth rattle.
Look, I am not an activist. In nearly 4 years, I've signed my name to one civil rights petition. And don't bug me about that commitment, Jazz. I don't want to relate. I don't want to communicate. I just want to be left alone and I want to study. Is that clear?
It's clear to me, but I'm coming in anyway.
Oh, Lord, it's your bloody girlfriend. Who cares about the bloody books?
That's the old school spirit. I want you to meet your new third-floor neighbor, Mike Alden, Walter Arnold.
What? No banjo. The party's not complete without a banjo. What do you say, Mike? Welcome to the bullpen.
Thanks.
And this is Peter Wicklaw.
Michael, I second the welcome. Hello. You a transfer student?
No.
How do you happen to be coming in the middle of a semester?
It's a special permission deal. I'm helping Dr. Cortland with an experiment.
Oh, a lab technician, huh?
Pete's not happy unless he can stick you with a label. What am I again? A class AA grind?
In translation, he's hooked on books and has a very heavy
Yeah,
schedule.
they're much too heavy to waste time listening to the voice of rebellion.
You are really pathetic. You know that everything I say is absolutely right. But you'd rather fall back in a cynical pose than lift a finger to help. Why, Walter? Why?
Because you come on like old Juggernaut himself, and because I am basically a pacifist, a coward, and a lover. Not necessarily in that order.
Yes, but when you know something's wrong, you can at least howl and protest.
Baby, I'm not a howler. The most I can summon up is a low growl when my cave is invaded. Not very impressive, is it?
Did Peter tell you how much we need your influence?
Forget it.
No. Walter, listen to me. Peter's written a blistering editorial for the Medwin Times attacking the demonstration ban. It's going to raise hackles, and we're hoping the controversy will blossom into a mass protest. But we must be able to count on intellectual support.
Look, I will say it once more, before I sink into sweet apathy. There is no room in my philosophy for mob action. A nice meeting you, Mike. On your way out, would you throw me that green notebook?
Now, the first thing I want you to do is to read through the campus regulations. I want you to learn every one of them, and I want those regulations enforced.
It's many.
Well, it's a big school, bigger than a lot of towns in this state. Now, it starts with the parking rules. No student parking in the administration or the faculty area. And don't let them snow you either. They cat up here in their bucket seats and think they've got the apple by the stem. Well, you police that parking area, and you issue tickets for violations. And I mean, I want that ticket book filled.
Is there a prize? Sorry.
Now, sexual misconduct. There will be no necking and no unseemly show of affection on campus. And the benches in the quadrangle are not to be used for any purpose after 11 p.m.
I issue tickets for that, too.
We don't make the rules, Mr. Alden. And there's a new one. Something you won't find in that book. There will be no student demonstrations on the campus, whether of a political nature or for any other purpose.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Oh? Well, you're going to hear a lot more about it. That's why I'm taking on extra men. And I want you to remember something, Mr. Alden. You're a peace officer. That's what you're hired for, to keep the peace. And you'll do it, in spite of any troublemakers.
Bud Loomis, one mission in life is to save the university from its students. And I take it you're going to help him out, now that you're a member of his goon squad.
I get the feeling he's expecting whatever Peter Wicklow is trying to drum up.
He might even be looking forward to it. Come on in and try to find yourself a place to sit.
I hope I'm not disturbing you. The door was open.
Oh, wait. Is that a blue notebook you're sitting on?
Battleship Gray.
It's okay. You can sit on it.
Really this busy?
Yep, and a slob to boot. But not that I particularly dig disorder. Lecture notes. I spent half my time taking them and the other half trying to figure out what they mean. Why did Professor Heinemann compare Aristotle to William Pitt?
I give up. I don't know.
When I find out, I'll let you know. I've only been working on it for the past 2 weeks.
Why don't you ask him what he meant?
Ask Professor Heinemann? It'd be easier to put through a person-to-person call to Liz Taylor. He's simultaneously writing a biography of General Sherman and acting as a special advisor to the White House. It doesn't leave much time for my silly little questions.
Grab him after a lecture.
How? His last lecture was attended by 1,200 grabbers. It wasn't really a lecture. It was a personal appearance. How sweet of the old boy to take a few minutes off from his crowded schedule to confuse the undergraduates. How bloody sweet and how bloody frustrating.
It's not much like the Late Late Show on television. College.
Fred Waring and 100 Pennsylvanians singing Betty Coed to Priscilla Lane while Jack Oakey warms up for the big game. Them were the days, buddy boy, the golden age of sis boom ba. Come on down to the Sugar Bowl, Harold Teen, and I'll spring you to a rhubarb float.
No, thanks. I think I'll hit the sack. Listen, you don't really hate this place.
Think Factory? To be honest, no. If there's anything I do hate, it's the kind of cookie-cutter education that turns us all out in neat batches with raisins in our navels. I'm an individual with an individual appetite for learning. I don't think of myself as part of a crowd, do you?
No, it's something else. What is happening on campus?
Peter Wicklow. That's what's happening, baby. Come on.
Inflammatory piece of rabble-rousing. End of quote.
The faculty advisor. What does he know? Anyway, you'll think of something else. Sure, you will. Good night, you carefree college kids.
Rah, rah, rah.
Night, Mara. Hey, wait for me! Well, they were scared of it. That's something, you know.
I'm not even sure it was the right handle. An editorial in the student newspaper wouldn't stir Walter Arnold out of his lethargy.
Special case.
Yeah, when we get to him, we'll know we're on our way. We've got to make waves.
Well, let's have copies made. We can pass them out in the cafeteria tomorrow.
I could pin it on the bulletin board in the student union, but I won't. The editorial is dead. And so am I. Not another idea anywhere. Let's walk.
I can't. Dr. Cortland wants me in the lab early.
Couldn't you stick around a little while? I'm in a lousy mood. Let's get something to eat.
Yeah, lobster tails, machine made.
What's going on at that lab, anyway? Has Dr. Frankenstein found the secret of eternal life?
Oh, you guessed it.
Come on, talk.
Confidential.
Don't tell me the Pentagon finally tapped psychological research.
No.
What's Michael Alden got to do with this?
He's involved.
Thank you for your vote of confidence, Miss Toller.
I said it was confidential. Why do you have to know everything about everything?
Because it annoys me to know a little. Here's Mike Alden, who drops out of the blue in the middle of the semester and joins the Think Patrol. Now it turns out he's involved in a secret project. A campus cop.
Well, he, needed a job.
A lab technician?
No,
Then who the devil is he?
that's his problem. He doesn't know. You didn't hear me say that.
Explain.
Come on. He has amnesia. I'm not putting you on. He was shot and pushed off a boat. Something happened to him. He lost his memory. Don't stare at me. It's the truth.
Amnesia? Wouldn't the Times love that?
You'd better be kidding.
They might even forgive me for writing important editorials.
Will you stop?
Oh, don't worry. I'm not an aspiring reporter, but it's the kind of thing that they would print, though.
No, they wouldn't.
Why not?
Dr. Cortland would have it stopped. He'd call Marshall. I told you, it's a secret. Who are you calling?
The Times. Hello, is Chuck there? Peter Wicklow.
You can't.
They won't print it. Cortland will have Marshall stop it. That's what you said.
Then why are you doing it?
Because I want him to stop it. But I'll say when. Hello, Chuck? Well, can you find him, please? I've got a hot story for tomorrow's edition.
I won't let you.
It's necessary. Trust me. It is so necessary and so right.
Why?
To get what we want, to turn the students into the street and crack the administration wide open. Believe in me, Enid, this is good. It's for a good cause. I wouldn't do it otherwise. I wouldn't betray you. Do you believe in me?
Yes.
Hello, Chuck. Peter, listen, I'm sorry that editorial didn't pass, but I've got something that's going to do it for us even better. It's a wild, hairy story about a new member of the campus security squad. Hey, grab a pencil.
The separation theory, short-term and long-term memory systems, is supported by a large body of behavioral and psychological evidence. I'm only one small contributor. I've been trying to learn just how the transitory or short-term system can be reinforced to induce brain changes leading to what we know as memory. You following any of this, Michael?
Strangely enough, I think I am.
Good. That's encouraging. Most of my students haven't the faintest idea what I'm talking about. For that matter, why should you?
I don't know. It's a weird sensation. It's familiar somehow. The lab, campus, familiar but different, rearranged.
How do you mean, rearranged?
The administration building, for instance.
Yeah.
Stairway coming down the first floor, the door's on the right.
Mm-hmm.
I know the door's on the right, but every time I come down the stairs, I turn and expect to see a door on the left. Instinctive.
No, on the contrary, it's habitual. In some forgotten university, somewhere, that door was on the left. What else strikes you as familiar about these surroundings?
Dr. Cortland,
Yes.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, it's all right. It's not that important.
I was ready on time, but I couldn't face you. Either of you.
What's the matter, Enid?
I can't be trusted to keep a secret. A friend of mine, Chuck Ellenson, is editor of the school paper. I don't know how the subject came up, but we started talking about Michael.
How much did you tell him?
Everything. That he was shot and pushed off a boat. That he had amnesia. The whole bloody story. I'm sorry.
I can't interfere. Not with the mood this campus is in. Well, any move on my part to kill publication would be misinterpreted. I can't risk it.
If that paper falls into the wrong hands, this boy's life will be in danger. Can you risk that?
There's one other alternative. The boy could leave campus, couldn't he?
Yes, he could. Certainly, I could spirit him away in a limousine with bulletproof windows painted black. But if the man who wants to kill him reads that story, he's going to know a lot more about him than he did before. Maybe enough to track him down.
Why, the chances of the man even seeing a university newspaper is so remote, Stephen.
So are the chances of the boy surviving after being shot and thrown in the water. The killer believed Michael was dead. I believe he's going to be a lot closer to death if that story reaches the public.
Look, no matter what you say, the fact remains that my first responsibility is to this university.
A university? What is a university? A cluster of buildings? A library? A football stadium? Does it breathe? Does it bleed?
You don't know the trouble this is going to cause.
Can you read it? The handwriting on the wall. Now can you read it? No paper today. What it doesn't say is why there's no paper today. Why? I'll tell you why. Because President Marshall found something in the newspaper today that he didn't want you to read. But you can't read it because the entire edition was confiscated and burned. Why, the student newspaper was thrown on a bonfire to keep it out of the hands of the students. We have been had before, but never like this. This is the final, fatal encroachment. We have been beaten down time after time. We have been pressured, regulated, and shamed into submission. Medwin isn't a university. It's a plant for turning out robots with the proper gears to function in the economy. What can we do about it? We can protest this and all the other outrages through a newly formed group, the Campus Protest Committee. We're planning to demonstrate against the anti-human attitude of President Marshall's administration. We know there's a gag rule against campus demonstrations. Well, we're going to demonstrate against that, too.
On your way, move along.
Join the Campus Protest Committee.
You! Come down off of those steps.
Join today.
I told you to come down. Troublemakers are stirring these kids up, turning them against authority. I know what happens to colleges when the troublemakers take over. Laws, rules, discipline, everything goes out the window. Kids run hog wild, and there's no stopping them. Well, it isn't going to happen here.
Sounds like you're expecting a riot.
That's just about it, sonny boy. That's just about it. But we're going to be ready for them, whatever comes.
What do you mean, ready?
I mean ready to stop them hard and stop them fast. You don't like that, do you?
I don't know.
Well, you'd better know. The way they've got you classified around here, you're some kind of special student. Well, student, you'd better make up your mind what side you're going to be on when the fighting starts.
Well, you can't say we're out of step. Medwin is a modern educational plant with every attendant feature, including open rebellion.
What gets me is the whole thing is based on a misunderstanding.
Not the suppressed newspaper? No, if it hadn't been that, it would have been something else.
They're lining up to join Peter Wicklow's campus protest committee.
Well, the urge to rebel is part of the growing up process. Not that they don't have some legitimate reasons. Medwin has grown in too short a time from a rather sleepy little college into a sprawling giant of a multiversity. We all have reasons. I'm wondering if challenging the democratic order is the proper way to go about it.
Should have heard the briefing Chief Loomis gave the security squad. I didn't like the blood-letting, bone-crushing, skull-cracking sound of it.
Save us from our protectors and protect us from our saviors. And you, Michael, I'm very much afraid, are right smack in the middle.
You told Peter, didn't you? He wouldn't betray a confidence to a casual friend. It had to be Peter.
All right, yes.
You told Peter, and he used that piece of information. And you're sitting here waiting for him. That's what I don't like about you, Enid.
It was necessary. It was right. You weren't hurt by it.
Does that justify the lie?
It was a means to an end. To dramatize the fight for student rights.
Now, what about my rights? They were juggled to provide your rebel leader with a gimmick. That's what I don't like. Well, doesn't that matter either?
Peter's leading a good fight for a good cause. That's the only important thing.
Not to me.
Well, you're different. This doesn't touch you. We have an entirely different set of problems.
And a different set of values. You think he's a great leader. I think he's a phony.
Go away. You don't belong here. If you did, you'd understand.
I understand being used no matter where I am. Take that to your great leader and share it.
If I decided to throw in with you now, if I really believed your schoolboy crusade could accomplish anything in the way of educational reform, what would I get for my trouble, besides more trouble?
A rostrum. A chance to speak out the issues and win support from the people who count.
I'm no demagogue. I'm not given to emotional appeals.
Say whatever you like, but say it now. The timing is perfect.
The university has prospered through government grants and generous corporation endowments, spreading in all directions like some fantastic ground mold to cover the landscape with financially rewarding industrial research labs. Now, only the students have failed to benefit from this frenetic expansion. Our educational environment has become the endless red tape of bureaucracy.
That's right.
As a result, we suffer through outsized lecture courses, bewildering textbook assignments, and agonizing blue book exams. We're wandering in an abyss surrounded by solid walls of indifference or outright hostility. There's only one way to get out. We have to break out. We have to reestablish...
There's a Fink in our midst. There, in the uniform of Chief Loomis's little Gestapo. Out, buddy!
Flatworm. Very gifted planarian. If the head is split, it becomes two heads. If the body is severed, the head grows a new tail, the tail grows a new head. And to compound the miracle, the new head retains the memory track of the old. Ah, evidently you don't share my enthusiasm for this remarkable fellow.
I'm sorry, I was reviewing a recent memory. Talk about alienation and walls of hostility. I felt like a mongoose walking into a room full of cobras.
Ah, well, this too shall pass. I recall other eras of student revolt. The Marxist intellectuals, the militant pacifists of the 30s. It only took a world war to solve those problems. This little flare-up is a panty raid by comparison.
Sure? I mean, this is a big thing.
Well, in which case, all I can say is let them tear down the temple. As long as they spare my laboratory and don't scare the animals. I'll see, where was I?
Flatworm.
Oh, yeah, Flatworm. I was about to make the brilliant point about splitting you into the boy who is and the boy who was, in order to find a link to the memory track. But I think I'll just quote the cheering words of the late Carl Lashley of Harvard. I sometimes feel in reviewing the evidence on the localization of the memory track that the only obvious conclusion is that learning is impossible.
Impossible. Okay, you got my undivided attention. What do we test today?
Visual responses. In a preliminary way, of course. I'm going to show you some pictures I want you to identify. Turn off the machine, will you, Michael? Let it cool off.
Dr. Cortland?
Yes, I'm busy now, young man. You are one of my students, aren't you?
I'm Walter Arnold. The one that keeps interrupting your 8 o'clock lecture course with fascinating questions.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I remember now. Sorry, I didn't recall your face.
You've never been this close to me before.
Uh-huh. Well, as I said, I'm very busy right now. If you have any further questions, you can submit them in writing.
I didn't come about the course. I want to talk to Michael Alden, if that's all right.
I suppose it is. It's important and brief. He's right in there. Michael! Hello, Walter.
I won't hold you up. I just want to explain about what happened last night.
Nothing to explain. I walked into it.
It was the uniform they were reacting to, not you.
I was wearing the uniform. Don't tell me he didn't know that when he turned them on. It's fantastic how he can get those people to do what he wants. Even you. Like this monkey here.
That was my maiden speech.
Yeah, too bad I didn't get to hear it.
Mike, I'm in it because I believe in it.
Can everybody say that?
Oh, sure. A lot of guys are in it for kicks. Nothing like a revolution to break the tedium. But most of us feel the protest movement has a very real purpose.
Other than knocking over the establishment for the satisfaction of seeing it crumble?
You of all people should know what this is about.
Oh, why me?
Our conversation at the door. The fact that I'm one of your students, and this is the first time I've ever been in this lab.
This is not a lab course.
But suppose I had more than a routine interest in the subject. Now, where do I go? To the library to look up one of the things you've written for one of the science journals? Do you know that it's possible in this university to get a bachelor's degree without ever talking to a professor?
Well, that's regrettable if true. Unfortunately, this is the era of the lecture course.
Then it's a lousy era. Education is a dialogue, not a monologue.
Does that justify a strike against the university? That's what you've got in mind, isn't it?
What's the matter, Walter? Afraid to speak out in front of a company fink?
I came here to apologize for that.
Okay.
It's not okay if you're going to act like a fink. Where do you stand, Michael? What are you going to do when the rest of us make our move?
That's what Loomis wanted to know. Who says I have to do anything?
Classrooms were empty at Midwin University today as most of the student body went on strike, staging a tumultuous 3-hour demonstration and demanding sweeping reforms of what they termed mass-produced education. This despite an earlier ban on such demonstrations by Medwin President John Marshall.
President Marshall, what steps have been taken to bring an end to these demonstrations?
Less than an hour ago, I issued an order for the expulsion of the student protest leader.
You've expelled Peter Wicklow?
Yes, with a deep sense of regret. His record indicates that he was an excellent student.
Aren't you afraid that this might have the effect of turning Peter Wicklow into a martyr, a campus hero?
I am hopeful that it will cause all of our students to realize the disastrous consequences of their so-called strike.
Sir, I noticed during today's demonstration, the campus police seem to be taking a hands-off attitude.
That is correct. They were following my instructions. Since then, however, I have authorized the chief of the campus security forces to use all necessary measures to enforce the ban on campus demonstrations.
Take one out. Show it around. Now, that's a rain hat for when it starts raining bricks and bottles. Put it on. And now you look like you could scare somebody. Open up the other one. You know what it is?
Yeah, it's a riot club.
Stick. We call them sticks. Come here. Let me show you how to use it. Now, suppose somebody was to try to take it away from you. What would you do? Where did you learn that?
I don't know.
You know, you could have taken my head off just then. Real professional. Well, I want everybody to grab a hat and a stick. As long as we've got an expert here, I'll let him show you how to use it.
The administration of this university regards its students as wayward children who must be tolerated only because they paid to get in.
Yeah, that's right.
One person dared challenge this attitude, and he was told, get out, go away, and please don't bother us. Now, you know and I know we haven't a better friend in this university than Peter Wicklow.
First of all, I want to say thanks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for giving me your support. And thanks for giving Medwin U the shaking up it needs. I'm not finished. And you can take that any way you like. All of you in this room, how would you like to do something big? How would you like to join me in taking over the administration building?
When and how it will end, nobody knows. Least of all, the students themselves. But spirits are high. As the demonstrations continue, the students shout their demands into the night.
In my day, a parade only meant we'd won a football game.
This was just handed to me. The student protest leaders, including ex-student Peter Wicklow, are staging a sit-in in the lobby of the administration building. No details yet, but we can definitely say the situation is not improving.
Now, wait, just a minute. Just a minute. Offer to meet with them tomorrow. Work it out over the conference table.
Look, Steve, I will not allow this university to be blackmailed into appeasing a mob.
A mob made up of students of this university. They're only trying to make themselves heard over the clatter of computers and new construction.
The computers have nothing to do with it. As for size, we're forced to grow. More and more people can afford to send their sons and daughters to college. And somehow or other, we've got to make room for them.
Yes, but at what expense? Wouldn't the answer be smaller colleges and more of them?
All right. Who would run them? Where would the teachers come from? Without a lot of fancy names and Nobel Prize winners on the staff, where would the money come from?
Well, from grants.
From industry? Sure. More labs and more buildings devoted to research. From the government, more of everything. Until finally you come right back to the multiversity. No, Steve, I can foresee a time when the small college will be a thing of the past. The university of the future will be as large and as complex as a city.
You like that vision?
No, I don't.
Well, then imagine how it affects the students. They feel lost and numbered as it is. John, you can't go down there and scold them. You've got to be patient. Before you talk to them, you've got to listen.
You've certainly taken a new position on this.
Because I listened. And I re-examined. Finally, I found that I was grateful that the years of apathy were over. The students finally cared enough about something to raise a stink. Somewhere underneath all the new concrete, Medwin is awake again. She's alive and dancing, and there's life in the old girl yet. Listen to her, John. Just listen.
Get me Mr. Loomis in security. What you're doing is wrong and will serve no useful purpose. Now, please, leave the building now, and I promise you that this will not appear on your records.
Peter is our leader.
Quiet, please.
Peter is our leader.
Please, quiet. May I have it quiet, please? Please. Now, you've made a mistake. And I'm giving you a chance to correct it. Now, what could be fairer than that? Can't you see that I'm trying to help you people?
We've had enough help from you people. You've given us the bomb, the draft, and a couple of nice little wars marked for young men only.
Why do you think we're here? Because we have nothing better to do.
When you want to discuss our demands, you know where to find us.
All right, get them out of here. Get them out, sir.
You, Wicklow, you're not a student. You're trespassing on school property. I have full authority to place you under arrest.
If you want me, you're going to have to drag me out.
Go get him. Get them all! Hey, what's Get them out of here!
Where are your dogs? Where's your fire hose and your tear gas?
Who says you have to do anything, Mike? Who says you have to take sides? Who says?
What are you waiting for? Get him!
Hello, Fink. Let's go. Can't hear you, Fink.
Use your stick. That's what it's for. Break his grip. Alden! Use your stick! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Make him move! Kill me.
Will somebody get a doctor? Get a doctor!
I'll take it.
Hands off, you Fink! You're not taking me anywhere. I'm staying here.
Peter, you don't know how badly hurt you are.
I'm staying. If I go, it'll be all over. I've got to stay.
The others will stay.
This is my show. I did it. Nobody's going to take it away from me now. Nobody.
Nobody wants to.
Dealer's choice, Mr. Marshal. You can order your goons to crack some more heads. Or you can arrange a meeting to discuss our demands.
Take the injured boy to my car.
He doesn't want to go. The guy's a real fanatic. He's liable to hang in there till he gets himself killed. Of course, you don't have to watch. You can always go back to your office.
It can't possibly mean this much to you.
It means this much to Peter. The rest of us are all running for the door. No? Maybe we got more guts than we thought we had. It's up to you, Mr. President. We can go on with this and let it run its bloody course. Or we can call it a day and meet tomorrow in an air-conditioned room with high hopes and clean shirts. If we have to, we'll stay here till the last goon is too tired to swing his club. But if it's all the same to you, I'd rather not.
Loomis, take your men and get out of here. What about you, Alden?
I knew I was on the wrong end of the stick. Do we get the meeting?
Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, my office.
I've got that joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to say. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to say.
Is this your idea of a fair meeting?
You've turned down every major proposal.
We didn't want cake, but we don't want crumbs either.
Look, number one, I have gotten rid of Loomis. Number two, I've agreed to a student security force.
Crumbs. What about self-administration on the educational level?
Out of the question.
Why?
An equal voice with the faculty on matters relating to our own education. Now, why is that impossible?
It would be chaotic. The curriculum would be reduced to a shambles.
The curriculum is a shambles. That's why we need a voice.
It can't be done.
Why? Because it's never been done before?
There's no use arguing. The proposal is rejected.
Without even trying?
A trial of one semester to see how it works out.
Rejected. I know how it would work out. It would be disastrous.
Why don't we have our sit-in right here?
None of that. Now let's discuss this intelligently.
Good morning.
I'm sorry I couldn't be here sooner. Hope I didn't miss anything important.
Not a thing. Dr. Cortlandt, I don't remember inviting you to attend this meeting.
No. Well, memory does play funny tricks on us, doesn't it? However, as an essentially honest man, I must admit you didn't invite me. That's why I felt compelled to come. Excuse me. May I?
Dr. Cortlandt, can this wait just a few minutes? We're almost finished up here.
No. What? No, it can't wait. I have here a petition signed by 87% of the faculty, calling for, among other things, a trial reinstatement of Peter Wicklow. How is he, by the way?
The doctor says he'll have to wear a hat for a while.
Oh, good. All right. Also, equal faculty-student voice in all educational matters. Point 4.
This is incredible.
87% of the faculty didn't seem to think so. Among them, some of the best minds in this country. You ought to know. You hired them. Well, isn't anybody going to congratulate me?
You're bloody right they are.
Here's another one I'd like you to have. Well, I don't know what we accomplished, what we could have accomplished if we continued. Perhaps nothing. I'd like to try again, though.
So would I.
Where are you going to go? What are you going to do when you get there?
Oh, follow up some of the things I discovered here. Maybe find the other university, the one I can't quite remember and the one I can't quite forget.
Is that a memory or a wish? It's a big difference, you know. Wishes can be transformed into realities. Why don't you come back here, Michael? Make this your university.
I'd like to try that. Thank you, sir.
I've got to go to class, Michael. We didn't make it easy for you, did we?
No, you didn't.
Poor Peter. He thinks he did it all himself. Well, he did do a great deal.
Could we leave him out of the conversation for once? I'm about to kiss this girl.
Goodbye, Michael.
Goodbye, Enid.
I'm sorry I couldn't have gotten to know you better.
It's funny. That's something I've been working on myself.
Coronet blue, coronet blue. Deep down inside my brain, I keep hearing that wild refrain. Coronet blue, no other blue. I know that this must be the thing that can set me free. For I was born just yesterday, lonely as the misty river. Always a moving like the river. If I linger, I'll die.